Click the links for Odyssey, Bit Chute, the Telegram, or the new Discord number 5. They don't last forever. So this is kind of a weird article in Wired magazine because they make a claim, but then they never define the terms of the claim. They say the alt-right on Facebook are hijacking Canada's truck blockade. They never define what the alt-right is for people who have no idea what you're talking about. But then they go through the whole article and they never give an example of the alt-right on Facebook who are hijacking the truckers' claim. The people they name are like Ben Shapiro and Trump and Tucker Carlson, but they don't actually name anyone who would be out and out on the further right. Like these people are all moderate right. If you're calling Ben Shapiro the alt-right, well, then, I mean, the term is meaningless to say something as silly as that. But then the also thing is they go through the whole article and they don't show any pictures of the trucker strike, which is weird because they say, oh, it's shrinking every day. It's only a tiny fraction of people who are there, and most of the truckers have had the experimental treatment, and it's really not a big deal. But yet it's in the news every day, and it's weird that you wouldn't show a picture of it. It seems like the media is not the media anymore. The media hasn't been the media in like 50 years. The media, what should I mean by that? Well, let me define my terms. The media should be fair, unbiased, and impartial. When you read an article, you shouldn't be able to know what side the writer is coming from. And in this side, you can clearly know which side the writer is coming from because they use terms. They call people alt-right. Like, well, the first thing you should do is define that term, and the next thing you should do is point to the people who meet the elements of that definition. And they don't do that through the whole article. They just go through this article and talking about how Facebook is like what they're trying to do is get these accounts taken down, because what happened is they're saying you got small accounts who before this protest started, had tiny accounts, and now they have like 200,000 members. I was on Facebook for like a week and I uninstalled it. It's like, it's too censorious for words. I was on Twitter too for like a week, and I realized, like, oh, I just spent 2 hours a day on Twitter, so I uninstalled Twitter too. It's not. Gab is better because there's less fighting, so you're not drawn into fights the whole time. It's like Gab is more like it's more like Telegram, where like you're just there to get the news kind of thing. You can interact if you want to, but you're not going to spend 2 hours a day on Gab. You might spend 20 minutes a day picking up news on Gab, but it's not the same thing because it's moderate and right. But there's not people on the far left to fight with, and there's so few people who are like on the far left as trolls. You just block them because it's like less than 1%. Anyway, so the media is not the media anymore. This thing with the truckers is kind of a tricky situation. If I was Trudeau, well, the funny thing is he ran. That doesn't make him look good. I don't see how the government backs down from this, because this is kind of it's kind of if one country's totalitarian authoritarians fall, then other countries around the world would look at it and be like, oh yeah, Canada just decided they've had enough of the Wu flu and they're not going to do any of this kind of stuff anymore. So then you look at other countries like, well, Canada's a first world nation. If they're done with the Wu flu, then how do we keep up this kind of nonsense? It would feel silly. So Canada can't back down because Trudeau's not Canadian. Canada's not Canada. Canada's part of the blockchain of globalism. It's part of the web of globalism with Soros, Rothschilds, and Schwab's at the center of it, who are kind of pulling the strings, sort of thing. So Trudeau is not going to do what is best for Canada. He's going to do what is best for the globalist machinations. Oh, and then I've read a few of these articles by these far left media people, and they keep making these claims about the stars and bars, the Confederate battle flag, stars and bars, the Crooked Cross, and QAnon stuff. Oh, probably shouldn't have said that on YouTube. All these kind of flags, and you go, well, this is the perfect occasion. Show don't tell. When you make a claim about these flags, you should show these flags. And are they flying the flags because they're saying that Trudeau is a Nazi? Are they saying that they're resisting a total? And don't get me wrong, I know normies use the term fascism, Nazi, those kind of things. They're using them kind of sort of incorrectly, but if the point is, like, you had some people who were wearing masks and they had the Crooked Cross on the mask, And the thing wasn't, they weren't saying that they were Hugo Boss wearing Germans. They were saying that the authoritarian totalitarianism of the government seeking total control over everyone's movements was akin to Germany of the 1930s. And like, yeah, the history, they've got the history a little bit confused. It would be a hammer and sickle would be much more appropriate. But they're normies, so they just don't know any better. It is what it is. So you've got people flying the Confederate flag. I guess means different things to different people. To me, it's just a flag of rebellion. It doesn't mean anything deeper than that. There are plenty of black people who fly the Confederate flag because they know what it means. It's like, why are you flying the flag? Fuck you. That's why. It's a flag. It's an ultimate symbol of rebellion. Where you could say that the crooked cross is the peak symbol of rebellion. But it's kind of too specifically associated with Germany and the German people. And most of us aren't German, so it's kind of like you'd need a new flag. Where the Confederate flag is kind of a kick-ass symbol for that reason. It's just a symbol of rebellion. So, like, again, the guy, I saw one image of a guy flying that crooked cross. He was wearing a ski mask and gloves. And he was one guy holding the flag. So that is probably more likely to be a bad actor, like an Antifa type, where if someone was holding the flag to say Trudeau is a Nazi, that's why we're holding the flag, that would make sense. But you wouldn't cover your face. You'd be like, yeah, Justin Trudeau is acting like Hitler. So when you see somebody who's covering his face and he's got gloves on, yeah, it's cold, but it's not that cold to wear a complete ski mask. That's more like Antifa being some kind of bad actor. It's like so you found one flag, really? Huh? Anyway, it's weird that they don't show they don't show any of these images. It's all just a wall of text, and they say there's only a few hundred cars there. Okay, well then how is a few hundred cars an issue? Are there more than a few hundred cars? Or is the media lying? Yeah, the media lies about everything because the media is not the media anymore. The media is nothing more than, it's closer, more akin to opinion pieces. But when about 20 years ago, when the media left paper and went to digital, they knew they started having to reconfigure their monetization because they weren't selling physical copies. They needed ads to support the distribution of the news. So they knew they had to get eyeballs and clicks. So the news went from hard news, kind of they tried to be unbiased, to, like, I remember the first media that kind of came out in the late 90s, I think was Slate. And it, immediately it was a left-wing media source. And then the media just turned into nothing but just clicking for eyeballs. Like, even mainstream media, you look at a CNN, it's like nothing but ads now and clickbait thumbnails to try to get views. It's like the media is not the media anymore. It's going to burn down and something else will replace it. I mean, it'll be something like Telegram, where you can get a lot of little stories and people will rebroadcast the stories that rise to the top. You don't have to go to Wired or, Vox, Mike, Slate, Now This, all these like BuzzFeed type, just far, far left media sources. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, check out the Odyssey, the Bit Chute, the Telegram, the new Discord if you want, though I don't know if there's a point to Discord. It's, if you like, every month the Discord gets showed the door. I'm not sure how beneficial that is. Anyway, I'll see you guys on the next episode.